Hey everyone, so in this demo, we're going to go over some very basic um, Photoshop, uh, very basic Photoshop tutorial. It's not going to be anything that is extremely detailed. It's just some very basic ideas in Photoshop just to kind of get you to understand or just kind of know some basics, and that's pretty much what all you need. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're just going to do a new document. So as you can see, I'm in my Photoshop screen right now, and I can always go to create new. So here, and I know we talked about this, or we saw a video on it about the different things that you can do when you're trying to open up a new document into Photoshop. So as you can see, I have some recents that are already here. Sometimes, like basically in Photoshop, if you're starting a project, it would definitely save it and it'll allow you to go back to it if you need to. So also remember we saw a video on it can save your projects and leave them here, as well as you can go to photo. Let's say you're doing a photo and you really don't have any specifics and you just want to use the templates that Photoshop has, you could definitely do that. So you can see that you could get a default landscape, a Photoshop size, or you can do a landscape that's here, a landscape by 6 by 4. And because it's a photo and it's something that's going to be printed out, you can already see that the resolution, the PPI, is already there for you. So it'll help you with your width and your height, as well as it will help you with your uh your resolution as well. So it'll put all of those default things in, as well as if you're printing, you can see it has it here already set for you. So what I'm going to be doing is, I mean, I could work in print mode because this is something that could be printed, or it could be a photo. You just want to print it out as a photo, you could definitely do that. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go back to my recent, and I'm just going to click on my 8 by 10. So once I clicked on my 8 by 10, as you can see, I have my width set at 8, and I also have my height set at 8, and you can see my orientation that's there too, and also 300. So we talked about a little bit about this with setting up your document. So I I'm I actually have a set idea of what I want my document to be. But if you have another idea, let's say you want your width to be, I don't know, let's say you want your width to be a 10 in width and 20 in height, you could definitely do that. But if you want to keep it, for me, let's say I want to print it out on my basic printer, I kind of want to stay within a letter size if I can. So I'm just going to put it back to 8, and then I'm also going to put my height back to 10. So I'm doing an 8 by 10. My resolution is at 300. Remember, we need our resolution to be at 300 because our resolution, um, um, it allows us to have many pixels. So if we have this big file size, when we're zooming in and zooming out, basically it allows it not to become blurry. So if, let's say you have 72 dpi, and you're trying to work on it, and when somebody zoom in or zoom out on it, it's not enough pixels and it's going to look blurry. So normally a good standard resolution number is 300. If you're, let's say, sending a file to a friend via email, then you probably want to change it to a 72 resolution, because you don't need to send out a big file to somebody. And sometimes it's hard for them to open up that big file. So really quick, I'm going to go in and press create. So now I have created my document that's here. So that's how you can create a document uh, in Photoshop. So I I know with this project, you guys, we're going to do in class, an in class project, which is our CAT assignment that we're going to do. Um, and it's basically a collage for our homework assignment, which is project number 9. Got to get it right. Um, that's going to be a collage project. So for this demo, I decided to just definitely just merge the two, because it's both a collage project. It's kind of no point in me doing a little demo on the cat and then do another demo on collage. Just merge it together, and it definitely makes sense. So for me, for my project, I'm not 100% a fan for having a white background. I kind of have in mind a patterned background, and that's what I want. So I'm gonna exit out of this, and I can still, what I could do is I can drop my uh, background image into Photoshop, and bam, it opens it up. Yay, Photoshop. So what I want to do, I still want to have a background layer, and I still want my layer to be not my layer, my background to be a particular size. So the size that I want my background, I'm going into image size. Once again, I want it to be 8 by 10. Remember when we seen the video, this is our linking. If you want to link the two, and then unlinking. So I'm gonna click on unlinking because I want this to be 8, and I want this to be 10. My resolution is still at 300, and I still kept the resample button checked. So this is the size that I want. I'm gonna press OK. So it's zoomed in. So I'm gonna zoom out, which is Command minus. I'm zooming out so I can see, my background info. So now that I have that, I have my background, and I want it to be this pattern background. Now I want to just go ahead and drop in my image. So we kind of already went over our interface. Um, Pretty much we talked about our tools, we talked about our display window where we're working, we talked about this is our layer area, this is where our color swatches would be. Um, so our color would be, so we talked about a little bit of that, and also seeing videos on it, our history button that tells us our history. So we kind of got a little idea of what to do for this. So for me, like I said, I want to drop in my first little image that I'm going to plug in. So I'm dropping in. So now I have that. And you see this little X that's here and this frame that's here. Because I dropped it in, I won't be able to edit it. Because normally you want to drop it in and open it into Photoshop. So if you just drop it in, this is a step you need to pay attention to. So I just dropped in my image. It gave me, as you can see, my background layer is the pattern. Now I have a new layer that's called the cat story. So you can definitely click on this and you could change it. So I want to change the name because I'm just kind of like, I don't think I want it. I'm just gonna call it Top Cat or First Cat. Or let's do First Cat. So now I got that. I rechanged it, and then I want to click again because I need to rasterize it. That allow me to edit this photo. So just keep that in mind with your layers. So if you're gonna drop it in, like I'm used to dropping in stuff in into Photoshop versus opening it up in Photoshop. So if you're going to do that, you want to make sure that you go to the layer that's on. I try to organize my layers as much as I can so I don't get confused. So that's why I kind of changed the name. But you want to click on it, right click on it, you want to scroll down, well, I already rasterize it, but you scroll down to rasterize, you click it, and now we're going to be able to edit this layer. All right, so there's a few tools that I'm going to talk about. So first we have our move tool, which is here. So this allowed me to move my cat around if need be, so I can move them. Then we have our some selection tools. So we have our marquee tool. So I'm gonna hover over it. So you can click if you want to have a squared, or sorry, a rectangular marquee tool, or elliptical, or a single row, or a single column marquee tool. So I'm just gonna use I'm gonna use the elliptical one. So I'm gonna hover over the little cat head, put him there. So these tools are they're selection tools. So it's really kind of cool to use. So now that I have this selected, and I say I want to delete this out, I could just press delete. And then I want to bring it back. So I'm going to do Command Z. So we brought it back. So let's say I just want the head and I don't need everything else for my collage. So I'm going to go into select interverse. And then I'm gonna press delete on my keyboard. Bam, I just got the head. So I'm gonna, this is not what I really want to do. I just want to show what's happening in some of this. So I'm gonna mosey on back to where I was because I'm using Command Z. So I just want to get out of what I just did. All right, so I'm gonna go back to my selection tool because I selection move tool because I want to move it. So that kind of gives you an idea for what these do. So I'm gonna move down to my lasso tool. So when we open up the lasso tool, you can go to the first one, which is here. And so the lasso tool allows you to draw. Let's say I want to draw just the outline of my kitty head. Let's get this little head in. I'm gonna try and not draw too crazy. I'm drawing with my mouse. And it's horrible. So I got the lasso tool in and I'm saying, okay, this is the shape that I want. So once again, if I want to just delete that shape, bam, I delete it. So you always want to make sure whatever you're working on, make sure you're paying attention to your layer. So I want to bring it back, Command Z, and brought it back. Let's say I just want the head. I just want the head. I don't want anything else. Go to select interverse, press delete. That background is gone. Now we just have the head, and you can see what's happening on our layer as well. Another thing with the layers, once again, we could turn it off, turn it back on with that little eye that's there. So I want to go back because that's not what I want to do. I just wanted to show what you can do. So I'm Command Z on my keyboard because I am using a Mac. Our polygon, I cannot pronounce it, polygon tool is here. So I want to select it. So this allows us to get some geometric shapes. Let's say I want to just cut out this little triangle here. Let's say I want to delete it. Delete it. And let's say I want to undo that and bring it back. And then let's say I want to go in and I want to do a select inverse and I want to delete, get that back right now. So I just got that little chip shape that's there. Let's do this. Let's say I want to make multiple chips that are here. So I can Command C, Command V. So what that just did, that opened up a new layer for my little chip. So I'm going to click on this just to keep it organized. And I'm going to put chip layer. Let's say layer 1, just in case I decide I want to use multiples. I don't know. So I have that there. So I want to go to my move tool and wherever it is, I want to move it. See? Yay, we have, I don't know what I'm going to do with this, but yeah, we have this that's here. I'm not sure if I want to use this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just delete the layer. So I'm going delete the layer. Yes, because I'm not sure if I want it. All right, so that kind of gives you an idea of that. So you can you can copy it, or you can go in to your image and you can put duplicate when you selected the object from your selection tool, and you can duplicate it that way. All right, guys. So same thing in these lasso tools. There's the magnetic one. Let's say you want to get just some quick, very quick, let the computer kind of figure it out, which just looks horrible. I'm just going to connect him some kind of way. Oh, wait, hold on. I'm sorry. I know you're supposed to, that's going to work. I have no problem with that. But let's say we delete that. And we can also Command Z, bring it back. Command Z, because I don't need, I just wanted to show what that tool does. So one of my favorites that I love is we're going to go to object, some of our quick selection tools. So I love the object select tool, because for me, I want to cut out my kitty cat, and I don't want to deal with a whole lot. I just want to do it really quick. So I'm going to just kind of scroll over here and select my kitty cat. And that's what I wanted. So now I'm like, okay, I don't need these books. I definitely don't need the background right now. I just want to cut him out. So now I can go to my select interverse, press delete, and bam, I got him. So I just going to move into another tool, because I just want to kind of end this tool that's here and just kind of deselect. So I'm going to go to my move tool, because I honestly might keep him a little lower for right now. Keep him a bit lower. So now that I have that there, I kind of want to duplicate him. And by all means, you guys, if you have a quicker, more efficient way of doing this, you could definitely do that. There's some other tools that I want to talk about before I get into anything else. So my erase tool that's here, I want to click on the erase tool, and you can also hover and get different types of background eraser tool, magic eraser tool, but I just want the regular eraser. I see that this little spot here, I'm going to bring my eraser tool up, make it bigger, because I see a little spot that I just kind of want to erase out. So you can see some spots if I zoom in. So I'm going to do Command plus just to kind of zoom in. I'm going to take my panning tool, move on over, go back to my eraser tool, and I want to also make it smaller, because I want to dig in here just a bit and kind of get some of this background out some more. That's there. Also, what you can do as well, I'm not going to go into too much depth of it, but I am very particular with edges just in general. So I normally when I see Photoshop, I kind of want to soften some edges. I don't want the cat to look too cut out and pasted. And I just don't want to do that. So I'm going to go into the Smudge Tool, which is here. And I can still, let's see, I want to bring it in because I want to see just a little bit more. So I'm going to take my Smudge Tool, and I'm going to just smudge out some areas, because I don't want to have too many sharp areas on this cat that's here. So I'm just going to smudge just a little bit. Don't smudge too much, and you don't want to deform your cat, but I'm just going over the edges because I don't want to have just sharp lines. I kind of want to soften them just a bit. So I'm just kind of going over with the Smudge Tool and softening some things out, because that's what I rather my edges to look a little bit soft than what it is. So I'm gonna make my Smudge Tool just a little smaller, just so I can get in here and smudge some things a little bit more. So I'm just gonna do that. So now that I have that in, I'm going to Command Z to move back. And I want to, making sure I'm still on the level that I want to work on, the layer that I want to work on. I want to select him again. I really like the quick selection tool, so I'm gonna click on that. Select. Oh. Need to make sure it's bigger. Command Z, don't want that. So I'm gonna select again and allow this to do its job for me. So bam, I want to select them. So what I want to do is I want to copy paste them. Copy, paste. As you can see, a new layer has moved. So now that I have a new layer, so I'm going to name this so I can stay organized. I'm going to name this, let's say, 2 cat. So I can stay organized with it. So now that I got that there. So I'm gonna click on this. I'm gonna take my selection tool here and I'm gonna move my cat up. Oh, now we got something happening. So I have my cat moved up. I kind of want this cat to be in front, I think. So I'm gonna go back to my layers and I'm gonna move my layer up. So now I moved my cat. So now my cat 1 and cat 2, cat 1 is in the top, cat 2 is there. So I have this going on my cat. I also kind of want to go back to my first cat, which I think is this one. Nope, it's not that one. It's cat number 2, just this one. I want to come to cat number 2. And what I want to do is I want to lighten just a bit, just a little bit, not a whole lot, the opacity. So this is what's happening when you lighten the opacity. See, he almost disappeared. It's getting lighter, lighter. So I'm making him transparent, allowing some of that pattern to show through. So I kind of want to make him just a little darker, but also have the pattern a little less transparent, more opaque. And just have that pattern show. So I like that. Another thing I want to do, I think I'm going to select him again. So I'm going to my quick selection tool again and select him. And he's selected. So I want to Command C because I want to copy him. I want to paste him again. So I'm doing that. So I got a new layer. So let me select, move this layer, because I just want to see where this layer is. And I kind of like it above for him. And I like where it is. So I'm just going to leave it there. So I want to change the name for this. And I'm going to go in and I'm just going to cat 3. Make them cat, or 3 cat. 3 cat. I'm going to click on it. So it's going to keep me a bit organized so I don't get too confused because I have a few layers right now. So I want to change the opacity on this just a bit too. Not a whole lot, just a little bit. Just a little bit. Maybe a little bit. So I could definitely do that. Another thing I could do, if I just want them to kind of blur out just a bit, I can go to the top of my screen and I can go to filters. Yay, filters. Now I can go to blur gallery. Let's go to field blur. All right, so look, he's blurry. Which I kind of like that. I like how blurry he is. So I'm gonna leave that. I need to move this out the way for 2 seconds. And I'm going to press OK at the top. So I'm pressing OK. I kind of like this blur. That's here. Oh, I got a blur. I also want to go back to, I think it's Cat 2. Cat 2. I think it's him. Yeah, it's him. And I want to kind of move him. I think in front of, I don't know, I kind of like him to the back, but I think I'm gonna move him in front of the blurred cat. So cat 3. There we go. Now I have my 3 little cats. I have a blurry cat. I have an changed opacity cat, and I have my original cat. It's cut out. So now that I like that, for this quick collage. So another thing that I want to do, I want to bring in a 3rd image. So I'm gonna bring in my image that's here. And I want to move it down just a bit. So because I came in, I have to come in, because I dropped him in. I have to come in, right click, and I need to go to rasterize layer so I can edit it. So now that I have that, I can edit him. So another thing that I want to do, I'm going to select him. Go ahead and do a quick selection. And then I want to select Interverse. I want to delete his background. Hey, I got my kitty cut out. So now I have him. My kitty is itty bitty. And I just want to make him bigger. So if I remember this step right, I want to go into free transform and maybe not that. Wait, I need to select them. Let me Command Z. Command Z. And of course, it's going to take its time. So I'm just going to move into a different. I don't want to do that. Let's move him down. Oh, select him and move him down. Make sure I'm on my layer, which I thought I was. What's happening here? Huh. There we go. Hey, there we go. So I'm going to select them. I want to select them again. All right. I think now I should be able to. There we go. So now I can make them bigger, smaller, because that's what I want to do. So I can push Shift if I want to keep him a little bit into not making him stretched out or whatever. But I'm gonna make him bigger. I need to move him here. And now that I have him moved, I also want to, because he's still selected, I want to copy paste him. Copy, paste. I move. Yay. Copy paste. Copy paste. And move him here. Bring him in just a bit. Probably want to get a little overlapping in. All right, so I kind of want to go back to my first cat. Just want to move my first cat up just a bit. That's here. Another thing that I kind of want to do, and I need to just look at my notes because I want to make sure I'm going over things. So I went over, some selection tools that we can use. And then also I kind of want to go over just the eyedropper just a bit. So with the eyedropper, what I'm going to do is just click on the eyedropper. I can always, let's say I want to click on the background. So remember, I need to go to that background. Let's say I click on the background. So now it gives me an idea of what this color is in the background. So when I do that, I want to go to my paint bucket that's here. I'm going to click on it. I actually want to give myself an idea of what color I want. So I'm going to probably about right here. I don't want it to be too yellow, but right here. So I can go to my paint tool and drop it in certain areas or drop it in the whole background, which I kind of like that. It's a little fun. But I'm going to darken it just a bit. All right, so we have that happening. I also want to go in and I want to go back to my top cat layer and I want to play with some desaturating, saturation, color hues, things of that nature. So I want to go to image. I want to go to image adjust. So we can play with brightness and contrast. So if I want to make it him bright, so I can do that. If I want to make him very, very not as bright or not bright at all, I can do that. So I can play with that. Contrast. So we can play with the contrast levels as well. So I can do that. I think I'm gonna leave it and press OK. And then I can go back to my image adjustments and I can play with hue and saturation. So we have hue and saturation here. And let's say I want to change the color of him. I can have him that color. And let's say I want to make him intense. Oh, he's intense now. So I can have him an intense color, or I can dull it down and desaturate. But I think I'm gonna leave him kind of intense. I'm gonna press OK. So now I want to go back to, I know I moved around my cats a bit. So don't want to get too confused. So I want to go back to my cat that's in the center, which is here, this layer. 2 cats. Yay. So I also want to go, I'm going to change this out because I don't want to get mixed up with anything. I'm going to go back to image. Also going to go to hue and saturation. And I want to, I don't know, maybe think of, make him, trying to think of a different color that I want him. Kind of like this color that's here. I want to make it saturated. And then I also want to press OK because I like it. I want to go to my next cat, which is my third cat. And I want to go to layers. And I want to go to layer, not layer, image. I want to go to image adjustments and I want to go to levels. So what levels does, it allows you to play with the tones. So you can make things a little bit more intense, or you can play with some of the mid-tones of the image, darker shades if you want to do that. So I'm going to lighten them up just a bit, or I can darken it up just a bit. And I can kind of do that. I'm going to press OK. Also want to change just a little bit of the hue. Let's adjust. I'm going to go back to my hues and play with that just a bit. Kind of like that red. I'm going to make it a bit intense. It's there. All right, so we played with a few things. So We talked about our move tool. We played with some of our selection tool. I haven't gone into crop yet. We played with our eyedropper tool that's here, our paint tool, eraser tool, smudge. We played with our smudge tool. We also went in and we did some hue and saturation changes, as well as we did, we played with levels, getting some shades and some brights and some things like that. So I want to talk just a little bit about the dodge tool. So the dodge tool that's here, basically what it does is it can make things just a little bit lighter. So if we want to come here and scroll over, or we can probably make more sense, it'll make it more intense and light. And then we have our burn tool that'll darken some things up. Yeah, Drew, you might want to go to the layer that you're working on. See, I easily get confused. I'm like, why isn't this working? No. So I need to go to the layer of that cat here. Oh, now we can see how it's getting darker and darker. So I'm burning it. Burn. We're burning it. Burn. So I want to go back to my dodge tool so we can lighten it. Lighten. You see how it's lightening it and lightening it. If I want to go back to my hot cat up here, and I want to, let's say I want to lighten just a little bit of this part of my hot cat, I can do that. So it's kind of, it can highlight things. So I just want to talk just a little bit about that. And the same thing goes where you can play around with this sponge tool as well. All right, so when we have our smudging, as you can see, we can also use a blur tool. So if I want to blur out some things, I make this a little bit bigger to my size, my liking. Yeah, I'm good with that. So I want to go back to my cat that's in front, that layer. I don't want to, so I'm just going to blur some things out, blurring things out, blurring some things out, blurring some things out, blurring some things out some more, blurring out some things. You could definitely, oh, I'm working on him and I'm not even on him. So you could definitely go in there and do that if you want to use that blur tool that's there. So those are some things that you could definitely do when you're working on your collage that can help you. There's some more things that I want to just play with. So I'm going to stay on my cat layer that's here, and I'm going to go to a filter. And I want to, let's go to stylize. And I want to make my kitty cats into oil paint. So I can, I know he's somewhere at the bottom. I'm in that layer. So I can probably, I don't want to do that. It seems like he should be popping up. I don't know why, but I'm just going to blur some things out. So you have stylization. You can play with some cleanness areas. You also can play with some scale. I'm going to press OK. So you can see I have my oil painted kitty. So I'm going to move to the next kitty, which is the one that's in the center. And I want to do the same for him. I'm going to go to filter, and I'm going to go to stylize. I'm going to go to oil paint. And I'm going to change some stylizations, change my bristles, details just a bit. Scale, I'm going to pop it up, play with it. It's not showing my preview. Oh, why? I'm going to press OK. So you can see it's starting to look like what it needs to look like. And then I want to go to filters and I want to play around again. I kind of want to do embossing. I don't know if I want embossing our towels. Let's see, background. I'm not sure if I want to play with this. Let me play with what else? I like oil paints, round edges, trace contour. I'm gonna stay on oil paint right now. Oh, here, finally. Here's my display. It just popped up, yes. So I can see some things changing. If I want him to be a little bit more tough and painterly and have some texture, I can do that. I think I kind of like what's happening there, so I'm gonna press OK for him. This rough kitty. All right, you guys. So we played with a little bit of filters, as well as we played with our eyedroppers, some our dodge tools, blurring tools, our paintbrush, eraser, selection tools. I didn't crop, so let's kind of get an idea for that. So with cropping, of course, let's say I want to come in and let's say I just want to crop my kitties. So I can come in and crop my kitties. Bam, and I press enter and it's cropped. Let's say I don't want that. I want to Command Z. Let's say I want to come in and just crop some weird area. That's here. Maybe I like this. So I'm gonna press enter. Bam, which I actually do like. I think it's quite cute. But of course, this kind of changes my layout just a bit. I might can get this if I say I want to keep this and I like it. Let's go to image size, and I want to bring it back to 10. Bring this back to 8, and I'm gonna bring this to 10. And of course, I have it unlinked and I have it on resample. I'm going to press OK. So it's changing the image size of it. All right. And then this is where I'm at with it. And I actually am, I think it's quite cute. I like it. So, and if I decide, okay, I don't want this, I can Command Z, bring me back to where the size it was. Or I can Command Z again and bring me back to where I want to be. So there's a lot of things that you can play with, and you're gonna have fun with this collage project, as well as our in-class assignment. You could definitely do that. So once again, this is very, very basic Photoshop. So you just want to just have fun with it. Still think about your composition, still think about those composition structures, still think about your elements of design and your principles, elements of art and principles of design. You still want to think about color, some of the ideas that we've been discussing with color schemes. Think this project through. There's going to be some things that I'm going to want you to do for your collage project that you have to just kind of stay on top of it and make sure you're meeting all the expectations that I'm asking for in that project. But for those of you guys who just never really touched Photoshop, that's what this demo is for. For those of you guys who are extremely advanced and you know what you're doing and you can be more efficient than I am, you definitely do that. I have no problem with that. You know, some of you guys are a lot more advanced than I am at Photoshop. But this is just some quick things that you can do for your in-class project and your collage project. But have fun. We're going to enjoy it. And I hope this helps. And I'll see you guys in the next demo. Yay.